Okay, first of all, thank you for the opportunity that has been given. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farid Akbar Al-Hafiz, Master Student of Animal Science, Department of Livestock Social Economics, Faculty of Animal Science, Universitas Gadjah Mada. On this occasion, I will explain our paper titled The Influence of Social Economic on the Risk Mitigation Strategy of Beef Cattle Farmers in Banyuasin Regency, Indonesia. Introduction. Animal husbandry is research purposes. The aim of my research is this study seeks to examine the risk mitigation strategy used by beef cattle farmers and the influence of the social economic characteristic of the farmers on risk mitigation strategy in Banyuasin Regency. Research benefits. For the government, the result of this study can be used as information in order to make policies related to efforts to maximize the development of beef cattle farming, especially in Banyuasin Regency. For the community, the result of this study serves as information to increase understanding of the risk mitigation strategy of beef cattle farming. For future researches, the results of this study are expected to serve as material for a preliminary study to explore further business risks and mitigation, particularly in the field of beef cattle farming. Methods. The collected research variable. There are 6 variables in this study, consisting of 5 independent variables, namely x1 age, x2 number of family members, x3 husbandry experience, x4 number of cattle, and x5 non-livestock income, as well as one dependent variable, namely mitigation strategy. The operational definition of each variable is elaborated below. And risk mitigation strategy is a strategy that can be used by farmers in managing risk to an acceptable level with the aim of reducing the consequence of the identified risk. Mitigation strategies are divided into 4 as follows. First, risk retention. The act of accepting risk because the impact is within acceptable limits. And the second, risk reduction. The act of understanding the risk and taking prevention effort at the source of the risk and combining action so that the consequence of the risks that are expected to occur can be reduced and do not occur simultaneously. And the third, risk transfer. The act of transferring part or all of the risk that may occur to another part who has the ability to bear or control it. And the last, risk avoidance. Avoiding activities with a high level of loss by refusing. Research model. Result and discussion. Characteristic of beef cattle farmers. In general, the characteristic of beef cattle farmers in Banyuasin, South Sumatra are determined by several main factors: age, gender, level of education, number of family members, family income, training that has been attained, main livelihood, farming commodities, farming experience, livestock ownership, and farming motivation. These characteristics are presented in Table 1. The characteristics of beef cattle farmers in this study are described using several variables: age, number of family members, farming experience, number of livestock, and income in Table 1. Based on Table 1, it can be seen that the average age of farmers is within the productive age. The average number of family members is 4 people. The longest farming experience is 8 years. The number of livestock ownership of each farmer is 3 livestock units. The average income of farmers is still below the district minimum wage. Male farmers make up 91% of the respondents, whereas female make up only 8% of the respondents. The percentage of beef cattle farmers based on the level of education is as follows: 15% not attending school, 18% completing elementary school or not finish elementary school, and 0.83% completing junior high school, and 2% completing high school. In addition, there were 36% of farmers who have attending training, such as biogas training, identification system, and livestock registration carried out by the Livestock Office of Banyuasin Regency. Most of the beef cattle farmers state that their main occupation were farmers or breeders. 12% were private laborers, and less than 1% were farm laborers and traders. Beef cattle farming is merely perceived as an additional commodity by 54% of farmers. Farmers who state that their side jobs are farming or breeding were 51%, and 26% were farm laborers, and 8% were working in the service sector, 9% were traders, and 1% were private laborers and entrepreneurs. Risk mitigation strategy. Based on Table 2, there are 4 risk mitigation strategies, namely risk retention, risk reduction, risk transfer, and risk avoidance. The result in Table 2 showed that 85% of farmers choose risk reduction and 15 others choose risk avoidance strategy. Based on the result in Table 2, beef cattle farmers in Banyuasin Regency fell into the categories of risk reduction and risk avoidance. Risk mitigation strategy. Risk reduction is the process of reducing the risk associated with a business venture. Consider the following example from the side of livestock production. Beef cattle farmers can hire from farm experts to examine disease, nutritional imbalance, and other problems. This helps reduce the risk of poor outcomes, but the risk is not completely eliminated. In the livestock industry, there are often good opportunities for farmers to reduce this risk. This risk reduction may result in an implicit or explicit reduction in net return. Risk transfer occurs when one party reduces the risk by transferring it to another party, usually in exchange for a fee. There are many ways in livestock production that make risk transfer feasible. Risk avoidance is the process of structuring a business so that certain types of risk do not exist. Social economic influence on risk mitigation strategy opportunity. According to Table 3, it is known that the social economic variables of farmers that affect the opportunities for risk mitigation strategies are the number of livestock owned and the income of farmers in one month. The large number of cattle tends to reduce the opportunity for farmers to carry out risk reduction strategies in conducting beef cattle business. This means that the greater the number of livestock owned, the higher the probability of farmers to avoid risk. If the number of livestock owned is increasing, the possibility of loss will also increase. Therefore, farmers tend to avoid this risk rather than reducing all potential risk. Socio-economic influence on risk mitigation strategy opportunities. Age has an impact on one's work efficiency compared to people of unproductive age. People of productive age usually have better psychological attitudes and always try to improve their quality of life. Beef cattle farmers of productive age are usually able to coordinate and take effective action. In addition, productive age farmers are usually passionate and eager to learn about the unknown. Socio-economic influence on risk mitigation strategy opportunities. One's education has an influence on the power of two and reason. People with higher education tend to have better thinking and reasoning skill than those with lower education. The level of education of a farmer will affect his thinking and reasoning, and subsequently will affect him or her in choosing risk mitigation strategies. Experience affect a person's knowledge and skill. Experienced people have better knowledge and skill than inexperienced people. The experience of managing a farm will affect the farmer's knowledge and skills in managing livestock, which in turn can influence them in choosing a risk mitigation strategy to be implemented. Income will affect person's level of welfare. People with high income tend to live better than those with low income. The income of the farmers will affect their welfare, which in turn affect them in carrying out the risk mitigation strategy of the livestock business they undertake. Okay, conclusion. The results show that the average age of farmers is within the productive age. The average number of family members is 4 people. The longest farming experience is 8 years. The number of livestock ownership of farmer is 3 livestock units. The average income of farmers is still below the district minimum wage. Beef cattle farmers in Banyumas Legacy tended to apply risk reduction 85% and avoidance strategies 15%. The number of livestock owned and farmers' income in 1 month were factors that affect farmers' opportunities to carry out the risk mitigation strategy. It could be concluded the large number of cattle tends to reduce the opportunity for farmers to carry out risk reduction strategies in conducting beef cattle business. This means that the greater the number of livestock owned, the higher the probability of farmers to avoid risk. If the number of livestock owned is increasing, the possibility of loss will also increase. Therefore, farmers tend to avoid this risk rather than reducing all potential risk. Okay, maybe that's all I can say. Thank you for the